come to the penultimate show next week. It's a real treat for me personally to see some of the new MPs that the country might not have known yet. So it's lovely to have people like Matt Ducey on for the first time, MP for Waimakariri. Actually, how's Clayton Cosgrove going? Because you kicked him out, didn't you?
He's a list MP in Waimakariri, that's right.
Yeah, is he all right over there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, all right, okay. This is something that I want to talk about, and it's about the pay parity. We've talked about this before, haven't we? And this is the fact that it's over 120 years since women in New Zealand got the vote. The World Bank says New Zealand rates among the best places for women in the world. Maturi Ature, do you agree with that?
No, I mean, we've made some really good inroads since then, but we are still in a situation where women are being paid less than men in the same jobs. We've got industries, women-dominated industries that are paid significantly less than similar kinds of work that are dominated by men. It is not okay, and it certainly isn't a situation where we can just say we've done everything that needs to be done.
No, but comparably in developed countries around the world, women in New Zealand do pretty well.
Well, I don't know what the figures are. What I can say is for New Zealand women, it is not okay for us to be being paid less than our male counterparts for similar jobs. It just is not okay. And it doesn't matter how it might compare elsewhere. That is not the standard that New Zealand wants to set for itself, that it's okay for women to be paid less. No, it's not.
If Kate Shepherd were here, 2015, having a dinner and a glass of wine in the pub, what do you think?
She wouldn't be having a glass of wine.
Would she? Oh, of course you wouldn't.
Temperance Union, but
okay. If she was having a juice or a soda, what would she think of today's workplace and environment, Grant Roberts, do you think?
Oh, look, I think she would be sad that the progress that she was part of starting here hadn't carried on. You said before, we're better off than the rest of the world. We've actually slipped. We're now the 13th most unequal in terms of gender pay and the gender pay gap. If there is a 10% gap or an 18% gap on a full-time wage, Matelia's right, that's not good enough. And we know that there are professions where women are doing jobs that are the equivalent of men and they are paid less. That's wrong, isn't it? That's wrong, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but an example?
Oh, a humorous example. Look at the case that Christine Bartlett's taking at the moment in front of the court about caregivers. The kind of jobs they're doing, the equivalent positions, the court has now ruled she is not and her colleagues are not being paid fairly, and we have to address that.
What do you even think about this, Matt Ducey? I mean, you get midwives, for example. I was reading midwives earn an average of $41 a baby for the last 20 years. No increase. That's pretty shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be clear. Discrimination on gender is not right and illegal. And I think if you were to look back from 120 years ago with Kate Shepherd, albeit, born in England but spent time in Christchurch, so we'll claim her as a Cantabrian, I think there's a lot there to be celebrated. I've got an 18-month-old daughter, and when I think what she will grow up to in 15, 20 years' time, like everyone in this room, freedom and choice of the lifestyle she'll have, the career she'll have, the goals. But let's not forget,
and what happens,
we've got the dismal stats here, but we're one of the most equal in OECD countries for gender pay at around 9%.
And what happens when your daughter, hang on, Matt,
workforce participation?
What happens when your daughter gets a job, she's 25, 26, she gets paid 14% less than her male counterpart doing the same job. And she comes to you as a dad saying, what do I do about it? What would you say, Matt Ducey?
At the end, it's not 14%, it's currently 9%. And we need to...
It's 14% was what I've heard.
I mean, we do need work harder. We can celebrate the last 122 years, but focus
So what would you say to your daughter then? She comes to you and saying, I'm being paid 14% less. Yeah, what would you say to her?
But the things we can do about that, so if you look at the moment,
what would you say
National has a target of 45% of women on boards. We're hitting at about 42%. This is more, I think, a generational issue, where issue around gender has been addressed through the generations. There's a lot to be celebrated in 122 years.
What do you hear? Targets of 45% women on boards?
I hear what I heard today from Antoli. It's all too hard. The national government has no idea what to do, so they'll just do nothing and allow women to remain in the situation of being paid less and undervalued for the work that they do. If that's the future he wants for his daughter, it is not the future I want for mine. I want her to have an equitable life, a fair life like everybody else. And I would expect every parent of a girl child to want the same for their kids as well.
That's right. All right, Grant, I'll come back to you. Damien Christie.
Well, speaking about paying badly, a couple of years ago, we had someone on backbenchers working for us that we paid nothing. Not because she was a woman, but because she was a student and she didn't really know anything at the time. But now you are a university lecturer. Hello, Pippa.
Hi, Damien.
Getting paid now?
I am. We have collective bargaining, so there's no pay disparity.
I mean, 120 years ago, Kate Shepherd's day, you probably couldn't go to university. You're teaching, I mean, it's only Massey, but it's still a university, right?
I hope my colleagues are watching.
Politics lecturer, though. Are you getting paid less than your male counterparts? You're not because of collective bargaining. Do you feel that you're getting a hard, in any other way, getting discriminated against?
I don't know if you caught it, but in the break, that man told me to undo a couple of buttons.
That's not true.
No, right there, ask him.
Really? Okay, this has got awkward. Okay, so everyday sexism is a thing, obviously. We'll have him kicked out now. If we could organise that, that'd be great. Apart from everyday sexism, what about in the workplace?
No, that's fine. I get treated really well at Massey University. It's a great employer. Feel free to give me a raise.
Give them a raise, about 10%, 14%.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about women your age that you talk to? Is there a real sense that this progress is not being made?
Definitely. I think things have stagnated over the past, 20 years. There's progress even in representation of Parliament. They got to 30%, and now things have kind of just stopped there. So people have kind of done, yeah, we've done a pretty good job, but things haven't progressed beyond that.
Thank you very much, Pippa. Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming along.
All right, thank you very much. Undo a couple of buttons. That was not me, by the way, that's for sure. Look, just final thoughts. Maturia, we now have 14 weeks paid parental leave. Ideally, what should it be?
I think we should just first acknowledge Sue Moroney, who is in the audience tonight, for all of her work on paid parental leave. She's been amazing.
So what should it be?
We support more than 26 weeks, over 26 weeks, and I think that that's a good goal to start aiming for, because we need to make sure we value parenting in this country, and if we did value parenting properly, for the amazing job that it is, then we would see a huge improvement in our children's health and well-being.
Matt Ducey, 26 weeks paid parental leave, is that something that you, as a recent parent or a newish parent?
Yep, new. In fact, the next one due in 8 weeks' time. I think there's two ways to look at that. One is fiscally and working within a budget, and the second is looking at the health science behind it.
So 26 weeks?
When you look at the attachment theory that this is built on, there's no real evidence post 18 weeks. So it's around personal choice of that child can still get the attachment from other people in its life. So 18 is correct at the moment. There's two ways to look at it, fiscally and through the evidence base.
I love the psychology lecture, Matt, but is that right?
No, it's not right at all. And so let's look at it. 26 weeks is our policy. It's Sue Moroney's
But what about
legislation.
attachment theory?
But no, if you look all around the world,
Well,
the reason
look
why
it up,
countries
you
in
Google it.
Scandinavia have a year is because that's what the evidence says. It actually, and who in here wouldn't think that a mother or a father and their baby need at least 6 months or a year together? That'll give families the best start. I cannot believe that, Matt. It is absolute nonsense.
Do you want to respond to that briefly?
Well, I think you just need to go and look at it. You're talking about the care that a parent would give over a 7-day period compared to the time that the mother is in work. Says for itself.
This,
I don't know what he's
all
talking
right,
about.
all right. This sounds like the sort of conversation that is going to continue after the show in the pub. Do stay with us. We're back soon.